Welcome on in, guys. Three bold takes again. We're here with your overreactions after week number 6, I believe it was, of college football. We have a spicy one for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we will have 3 separate parts with 3 different overreactions. No guests today because simply we're just recording too many videos tonight for it to work logistically. So stay tuned, fellas. Again, thank you, Quinn, Chase, and myself, Freddie. Enjoy these overreactions.
So, guys, I've got to talk about Texas. We just watched the Red River rivalry, as people say. I have to say it, so I have to enunciate. Just watched them last week. They lost to Oklahoma 34-30. But Quinn came on here last week, and Quinn said, guys, Texas is back. I just watched this game against Kansas. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Texas is back. And I was like, Quinn, I think you should wait. The rivalry game's up this weekend. Like, shouldn't you wait? And Quinn's like, no, they're back. And I thought all week on it. I watched the entire game. I'm going to double down what Quinn said. Texas is back. I really do think after watching that game, they lost. Oklahoma had 2 or 3 separate times to really get away from that game. And they had to score in a last minute touchdown. Texas as well. Quinn Ewers started out throwing 2 interceptions on his first 2 drives. Then went, I think, 21 of 21 after that. When Quinn Ewers left the field, they left winning that game. Now, this was arguably the worst defensive performance Texas has had all season long. They played their most exceptional against Alabama, but Oklahoma showed up in this game, right? It's a rivalry game. You're going to show up. But I'm going to double down what Quinn said. I legitimately do think Texas is back. And let me tell you this, guys. I think Quinn got on here, was like, oh, gosh, Chase is about to roast me about me coming out, about me saying Texas. I'm doubling with it. You lose here, right? Okay, you lose in the regular season. Who cares nowadays? You can lose once, almost lose twice. We haven't seen it yet, but you could potentially lose twice and still maybe make the playoffs. This is going to be a Georgia-Alabama situation where, okay, I lost to them one time, but I'm going to see him again later on down the road. I haven't seen anybody else in the Big 12 yet that has made strides to compete with Oklahoma and Texas at their level. Now, there's other good teams, but none on the level of these two. And so my thoughts is that they're going to see each other in the Big 12 championship. And I've always said this, I'm kind of a superstitious person. No, you can't beat the same team twice. Definitely not in the same season. And I think Oklahoma and Texas are going to match up again in the Big 12 championship. Texas is going to take it. They're going to end up sneaking into the college football playoffs. So I'm doubling down what Quinn said. Yeah, they lost. They lost by 4. But when that offense left the field, they were winning that game. And they had a horrible start to that game. Texas is back. I'm with it, Quinn. I watched. They lost. A loss is a loss. But if you watch that game, Texas is a very, very tough team. They had a terrible day defensively. And if they can shape that up down the road, this is a top 5 team in the nation.
Quinn, you go ahead.
Look, so I was ready to come on here and take the grief for making the bold statement that Texas is back. But I'm glad Chase went the route he went because I have a similar take. Sometimes you can watch a game and you can be like, that team lost. They're not as good as we thought they were. Other times I can watch a game and think that was a really competitive game. Both teams played good. Both made their mistakes. It was a rivalry game. It was intense. It was close. It's action-packed. You look at the remainder of those 2 teams' schedules, Texas and Oklahoma, they're both pretty winnable. So they're going to play each other again. Now, I apologize to all the Texas fans out there for saying it one game too early, but I don't think the opportunity window for Texas is gone. And in my book, you justify being back by making the national title game. I don't necessarily think a program has to win it. I think once you make it, you need 5 years. You need to try to win it, or that make was a failure. But you can make it the first time and lose. It's like Clemson did. As long as you come back and counter it afterwards. And you can still make a legacy for your program. So Texas being back, I think for this season, that's defined as getting to that title game. And I don't think that's gone for them yet. But I am scared for them. They will I do think they'll get their rematch with Oklahoma, though, in the Big 12 title.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will too. And you could just look at their schedule and it's cheeks. It's buns, moving forward. You've got Houston, BYU, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. I thought Texas Tech was going to be. Maybe? I thought Texas Tech was going to be pretty good. Kansas State's very disappointing this year compared to last year. TCU the same way. Remember when they came into the year, everybody was like, oh my God, Colorado beat them. They beat the runner-up to the national champion last year. Oh my God, let's freak out. No, they're horrible. Buns. Throw them away. They're terrible. BYU, it's their first year in the conference. Houston, first year in the conference. Like, this schedule remaining for Texas, if they lose another game, that's a sad day. Like, I love Steve Sarkisian, but I bet you Longhorn Twitter would be calling for his removal, probably if they have this team and lose another game. So I agree with you. I think they will make it back to the Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma. But it's just disappointing, man. Like, I have on the graphic, and I didn't know you were going to go this way, Chase, but I have on the graphic, Texas is back, ... to disappointing. And I'm really wanting to leave that there because this is what Texas does. Even though we still think they're going to make the Big 12 and still have a chance to make the playoffs and this and that, this is just what they do, man. They start off, 4-0, get it ranked really high. They have a good win early on in the year. We get excited, and then they come back and lose a game. Now, they did play well in this game against Oklahoma, and their loss does not take anything away from what I think they are, but it's still disappointing from what we thought Texas was as the number 3 team in the country. And Oklahoma, we're not talking enough about Oklahoma here.
Right.
This is all about Texas. Oklahoma was 6-7 last year. Now, Gabriel did go down with a concussion in this game, specifically last year, where they got beat 49-0 or whatever it was. But can we just talk about how Oklahoma is like a really good football team now? Like from 6-7 to now, it looks like they're really good. Go ahead, Quinn.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I never jumped heavy onto the Brent Venables is going to be bad train, just because he has a really good history of success and cares about that program specifically. He spent a lot of time around it, and he knows what they're getting ready to go into playing SEC play because he was at Clemson playing on the highest level. So I'm not shocked that he turned it around. I think it's one of those examples of why you give coaches 3 seasons, sometimes 4, depending on your situation, is because Mike Norvell's another example at Florida State. Like, they can eventually turn it around. So I'm not shocked that a power brand like Oklahoma got good. It's good to see it, though. This was the game they needed to win. Kind of prove it, because they have a very weak schedule for the whole season this year.
Yeah, I also want to bring this up. Before the game, I thought this was odd. Obviously Oklahoma was ranked 12th, I believe it was, coming into the game. They were an underdog in the game, but they still had a better chance to make the playoffs than Texas, even though Texas had proved themselves over the course of the year so far more than Oklahoma. So I thought that was pretty odd coming into the game. However, I do think that both of these teams are still alive, but I'm leaving this graphic because it is disappointing that they lost to Oklahoma this year, to be honest, because I really thought that this was a game that they could not only cement themselves as they're back for real, but national championship worthy, we're back. And even though they lost and it was a great game, I don't see them winning the national championship now. I don't, simply because the teams that they're going to have to play is just going to be far superior to me. I do really like Texas, but it's just disappointing for me personally. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been our Week 6 overreactions. Please like, comment, and share to your friends too. We like to have debates in the comments section, and we like your feedback on what we're talking about. So share it around, like, comment, subscribe. This has been Chase, Quinn, and myself, Freddie from 3 Bold Takes. We're out. New episodes every Wednesday at noon for our upcoming games for Week 7.